Hello everyone out there, welcome to Solve It Out. This is Annie here, and today I'm going to build a small project on one-step GitHub authentication. So this is the login page of my small project. Here you can see we will be doing login with GitHub. When I will click on this GitHub button, it will redirect me to the GitHub authorization window where I have my account here which needs to be authorized. So when I will click the authorize here, it will redirect me to my home page that I have built. This is the home page that I have created. You can check here the DP here, and the name is being directly fetched from GitHub. This is my GitHub account, this is my DP, and this is the my name here. I'm running this project on the local host right now, and this information is being directly fetched from GitHub. Now to do this project, I am using Next.js as the basic framework, Tailwindcss for the design purpose, and Next.js for the GitHub authentication. Now I will be talking here about public routes and protected routes also. So let's jump on to the code. As you can see, I have already installed the Next.js and Tailwindcss in the package.json file. You can check out I have also installed Typescript along with Next.js because today I'm going to work on it. Now I haven't updated any code further, so let's go to index.tsx here. It's as it is, haven't deleted anything. First let's run it. I'm using yarn here. Let's first check it out in localhost 3000. As you can see, this is a very basic page of Next.js. So let's first change some code in index page. We'll delete from this file as we'll not need it here. Let's write here, welcome homepage. You can see welcome to home pages. Next, let's install Next-Auth.js. As you can see, the command here for yarn is yarn add Next-Auth. Let's go back to our code. As you can see, our package is already installed. Now I'll go to the pages and then to the API folder. Inside the API folder, I'll create another folder named auth. Inside auth, I'll create a file. Please note the file naming. Inside a square bracket, there will be 3 dots, Next-Auth.js. The naming structure is quite important to apply the providers here. Here, I'll start writing the code. First, I'll import Next-Auth from Next-Auth/next. Then, I'll import GitHub provider from Next.Auth /providers /GitHub. Then we'll start the main function, that is export default Next.Auth Here I'll write the providers, and inside an array I'll mention the provider name, that is the GitHub provider. Here we need to pass client ID. We'll create this env file a bit later. Let me first write it down. process.env.client ID. Next we'll need it client secret. Now you can see here, after writing this two, you'll see an error which is showing here. This is a TypeScript error, that type string or undefined is not assignable to type string. So to remove this TypeScript error, I will write one extra word here, that is as string, as TypeScript requires you to define what the variable or what is the type of this variable. So I'm defining here the type of this variable will be string. Now you can see the error is gone. Next I'll write here one more GWT secret here. Let's write secret, then this dot env dot awt secret. We'll be creating this in a few minutes. We have to add a comma here. Yeah, now it's looking fine. This file is ready. Now we'll go and add a .env file. In the .env file, we'll first write, copy this one, paste it here, client secret, paste it here, next awt. So we'll put the values here. Now let me first go to my GitHub account. My GitHub account, let me first go to my settings. To use the GitHub provider, we have to actually go to developer settings, and in the OAuth apps we have to create an app for the verification. We will get the client ID and client secret from here. Let's first click in new OAuth app. Here I can give the application name as testing. The home page URL, as now I am running the project in localhost, so I will be given the localhost 3000. Once you are in the production mode, you have to give your domain name here. On the callback URL, I'll write this one, that is http localhost 3000/API/auth/callback next.js/github. That is this page. This page is mentioned right here, the path of that page. Now we'll register the application. After the registration, you can see here the client ID. I'm going to copy it, but don't copy my client ID, because after the video is launched, I'm going to remove this ID, so it will be of no use. Create your own client ID from your GitHub account. Now I'll copy this one first and will paste it in my .env file. This is the client ID here. Next, I'll create a client secret. The client secret is also here. You just copy it here. All the work of GitHub has been completed, will not need it anymore. Now I will create the JWT secret. It's actually a long string of some gibberish, you can say, which actually acts as the JWT secret. But for now, for an example, I'll write that okay, so this is randomly I have written. I'll save it up. Now our .env file is completed. After doing changes in .env, we should rerun the yarn run dev command. Next, I'll go to app.tsx and wrap the component here in session provider. Let me first import it. Importing session from Next.Auth, and then importing session provider from Next.Auth/React. After importing this tool, let me first wrap up the component in session provider. Here, we should pass the session. Also, we should describe here the type of the app props. It's better to keep a habit of defining the type so that in further no error occurs right here. Sorry, here is a typo. Now, as we have wrapped it up, it's completed here for the app.tsx. Now we will create first let me create a login page, then I'll work on the index.tsx page. So here I'm creating under the pages folder, I'm creating login.tsx, and let us first write RFC login component is created. Check the route, check /login. Yes, you can see login is created. Now let's start coding the login component. Well, first I will call the use session. We'll discuss about private routes and public routes right now. Let me first write the code. Well, I want to call the data of use session as is authenticated. I've mentioned in that way. Let's call the router with use router from next. Next, I'll use the use effect hook. Here inside the use effect hook, let me first import it. Inside the use effect hook, I'm going to check if the user is authenticated, means user is logged in or not. If is authenticated, since we have the user data, then we will push to the home page. And the dependency here will be is authenticated, comma, router. Now the concept is that I want to first check that if the user is logged in, then no need to show the login page to the user. And if the user is not logged in, then push the user to the login page only. No need to show the home page to the user. This is the concept of the public route and the private route. The login page I want to keep as the public route. Whatever guest, whoever are not logged in, they can only see the login component or the login page. And the user who are logged in, they don't require to view the login page. They can only see the home page there. So here I have already given in the use effect that if it is authenticated, then it has to push it to the home page. Here, before the div, I'll give the before the div, I'm going to give a check, that is, if not authenticated, then only the login component will be visible. So now let's write the login component. Let's define it with the CSS styles with the help of Tailwindcss. These styles are to keep the content in the middle, also with some background color and a predefined font. Next, we'll write a tag, that is in span tag I'll write the welcome coders. First let me give the styles. Font, I wanted it to be bold, as it is the heading, with the margin of 12 and the padding of both left and right as 5. Let's write welcome coders. Let's continue with the image. Okay, we don't need this login. Let's continue with the image. Let's define a div here. We'll take the image here. Just let me write the component, then I'll import the image from my public directory. First import the image tag from Next, then I'll import image from public folder. Let's put it here, the source. So this is done. Let's move to the button. We have to create a button here. Let's give the CSS. Put the button tag here. Put the class name first. Itself. Margin 12 up and down. Now the CSS of the button is a little bit more. You will actually see why. To give a animation effect to the button, the CSS here is quite important. You can check out the details of the CSS in the docs of Tailwindcss. Once it's created, you can actually see how the normal CSS within, means in the same line, how it can create a beautiful button. The button CSS is complete. Let me import a React icon. I'm importing BS GitHub from the React icons. I will be using this GitHub icon for it. Here I'll give a class name with 10 and age 10. Also will write here login with GitHub. Also, I missed out a CSS here, that is on hover pg. I want it to be style. Let's save it up and let's check it for the login button. Now here is the login page and you can see the button here. When I hover it, it changes color along with its size. With a nice transition effect, the login page is ready. Now let's add the button function. On the onClick event, I want to log in, or you can say I want to sign in up my GitHub account. I'll import the sign in function from Next-Auth.js/React, and here, well, it's for me it has got auto imported. You can see here the sign in function from the Next-Auth.js/React. So inside the sign in function, I'll write here GitHub and also mention the callback URL. Now, as I'm in the localhost, I will write here my localhost URL. If you are in the production mode, please give here your domain address. Now it's done. We'll save it and let's go to the login page here. Now I'll click it. Let's see. After clicking, you can see here the GitHub authorization window. You can see here my testing account, that is the OAuth app that I have created earlier, is one to be authorized. GitHub want to authorize the app. So if I click here the authorize button, it will redirect me to my home page. This is the home page, that is welcome to home page, our index page. So we are already logged in the home page. Now I wanted to create a nav bar for my home page. So to the code, and here I want to create a folder, new folder named components. Inside the component, I want to create a file that is navbar.tsx. An RFC navbar component is created. Now let's first copy some of the code from the login page. I will copy this portion of use effect in the navbar, paste it here, and this portion also, the imports, let us do it. This in router, now here a little bit change is required, that is whenever the navbar will be shown, that is in the index page, if the user is authenticated, then the navbar will show, and if the user is not authenticated, then I want to push it to the /login page. So here you can see if the user is not authenticated, then it will push to the /login page. Elsewise, if the user is authenticated, then we can see this navbar. Okay, so let me first write down the check here is authenticated and will start. Now let's start writing the code. Here I'll also give an image. Now this image will be the GitHub image of your profile. So for the image, I'm going to give the source a little bit later. Let me first write down the basics code. source here, that is authenticated dot user dot image. This will be the image of your GitHub account. Now here the image is not right now included. So string here, give it the image as important, means it should be here. The error is gone. Now let me continue with the now I want to write here the username, that is your GitHub username within this span. So I'll write again like is authenticated dot user dot name. Here your name will be shown, means the authenticated username, and then I want to add a sign out button here. Let us create another div. Here, let me create a button. Write the onClick function. Rename the button as logout. Now I'll write onClick function. In this onClick I want to sign out, so I will throw an arrow function here and we'll call the sign out from Next.Auth React for this function. It's auto imported. Let's save it. The navbar code is written finally. Let's move to the index page. Here in the index page, let me first import the navbar. It's not auto important. Import. Components. Navbar. Import it here. Wrap for this welcome home page. First, let's check how the navbar is looking. As you can see the error here, that is invalid source prop is for next image. It needs a host name here, that is avatars.githubusercontent.com. We have to define the domain name in the next config.js file. For the image optimization, we have to add the domain names if we are using image from any outside source. So let me add the domain here. Let me copy the domain name from the error, that is githubusercontent.com. As I have put it here, fine. Now let's restart it again. Done. You can see here the navbar is already present here, but the styling is not okay, so let us fix it up quickly. We'll go to the index page. We'll remove this styles.main file and give some style here. Well, okay. Let's wrap this welcome to home as span tag. Now for some, I'll add one image also here from my public directory. First, alt for a class name with 100. Just import the image from my public directory. So I want to wrap this component with my session. So let me copy the code from navbar. The logic is same here, that if it is authenticated, the code of the index page will be visible here, and if not authenticated, will return to the login page. Yes, the code is done. Now the home page is looking fine. You can check here that the image is of my GitHub account, and my name is here. This is the logout page, logout button, and the main page. Let me log out once again. If I log it out, you can see the login page here. Now, for the public and private routes, when the user is not logged in, I cannot access the home page. If I click /only, then it will redirect me to the login page. This is what we call the public route. And for the logged in user, if I log in here, when I'm in my home page, that is I am logged in, I cannot access the /login route. You can check out here. I write /login, it will again redirect me to the home page. So this is what we have for public and private routes. This is my small project of one-step GitHub authentication. Do comment down below if you face any problems or have any doubts. Till then, let's meet for another project.